What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in for another video. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a slim fit necktie. For me, it usually takes me about 25, maybe 30 minutes to make a necktie. Might try to do it a little faster than that, but you know, you guys are going to see it step by step how to get this thing done. So let's get it. Alright, so first you're gonna need your fabric. I really like this print, the black with the purple gold. I think it's a nice fabric. So let's get into it. Gotta get the wrinkles out. So my stencil was always a old tie that I'm not using. So here's my stencil right here. Iron this out. And all you're doing is tracing it. Tracing the outline. Boom, got your outline there. Take that off. Set that to the side. And for me to make a necktie, I usually get about 3/8 of a yard. That'll give me a full necktie. So about 3/8. And then this here, I use this for the tie keeper. So I use about maybe 2 to 3 inches to make the tie keeper. All right. And of course, this is the top half of the necktie. Right there. Doing this outlining, tracing that out. You know, if you're new to this, you know, take your time. It takes a minute to, you know, to get things right, but, you know, practice makes perfect. All right, so we got our long skinny piece right there. All right, so now I'm just gonna cut an outline of this top half part here. So when I sew it down, it's gonna have the interlining part, so it covers up the lining of the tie, the inner lining of the tie, so you won't be able to see it. So it'll be the back piece of the necktie. So all I'm doing is just tracing this top half right here. To the side. And that was for the skinny piece, so I gotta do the wider piece at the bottom, so I gotta copy that bottom half too. All right, so that's how that looks. All right. Just gotta grab the sewing machine. Also, too, if you're new to sewing, like I was never taught how to sew for a necktie. Only thing you need to do is be able to sew on a straight line or a diagonal line. Like that's basically what I learned, and it does the trick for me every time. Like I'm not a perfect sewer, you know, but I know what to do to get the job done. Like I said, as long as you can sew a straight line or a diagonal line, you should be good to go. All right, so I got my top half here. So always make sure that's on the opposite side. You want to place that down. Leave about an inch or so from that corner piece. You want to leave an inch. So when you sew it down, you're gonna roll it over. You're like pulling it, but it's rolling. So it's gonna look nice once it's flipped inside out. So let me grab a pen. All right, so I usually use a pen to keep this in place. I usually use a pencil too, or a pen just to mark my spot, just to put a straight line across here at the top, if you can see. Just to put a straight line across that top. So that's where I'll be starting to sew from. So I'll be sewing diagonally down this way. Just sewing down. All right, so if you want to get a pen or a marker or something like that, just to mark your spot, and then you're just gonna be sewing diagonally down. All right. Okay. Got that part sewn. Once that's done, you can take your pen out. And then, like I said, once that's sewed, you're gonna be actually pulling this side like that. I'm gonna be pulling it, and it needs to leave a little space in between. So when you pull it and you see a little space right there in between, that's how it should look. So I'm gonna pull that side, hold it down, get it underneath the machine. Sew that in. Okay. So like I was saying, you're gonna have that gap in between. So it's like this piece was rolled over. It's giving you that space in between. All right, so I'm gonna cut off. The extra. All right, then I'm gonna fold that right straight down the middle like that. Fold that. Then I'm gonna sew a line straight across. As you can see, sewn straight across. I usually cut off this extra piece here. So it looks like that. And what you're gonna do is go up, under, and flip that out. Boom, there you go. All right. Then I'm gonna do that, the same thing with the bottom half of the necktie. I'm gonna do the same thing. We'll put that down. Sorry. Like I said, leave about 1 inch. 1 inch over from the edge. Pin that down. All right. So it's gonna look like that. All right. So that diagonally, angle. All right. And again, once that's sewn down, we're just gonna be pulling it over just like that. Like I said, we just need to leave that gap in between. All right. All we're doing is sewing on the angle. All right. Again, got that gap in the middle. All right, so we're just gonna fold that straight down the middle, just like that. So it looks like that. All right, then again, we're just gonna sew straight across. Sewing straight across. And again, you can leave the excess or you can cut it off. I usually just cut it off. All right, so it looks like that. You're just gonna flip that out. Flip it in, then flip it out. So it's giving you that nice crisp look. How you got the edges. And that's from leaving the gap. When you leave that little gap piece in the middle, when you pull it over, it helps to make it look just like that. All right, and then also, you can always stick a pencil or something up there just to make that poke out a little bit more, the tip part. All right, now we gotta sew these two pieces together. So as I was trying to put those two pieces together, I realized that I was missing a middle piece to actually have these two pieces connect. So I'll show you in a second. All right, so here I got this piece. Goes like that. Make sure it's flipped over on the opposite side. And all you're doing is just sewing it straight across. All right. Then you're taking the long piece, back piece of the tie. You're flipping it this way, opposite side. looks like that. And all I'm doing is sewing a line straight down. Alright, so that's how that look. It's sewn down. So now you got the full length tie. Alright. And let's not forget, for the tie keeper, all I did was just folded this, just made like a hem with this. Just folded it. I'm just gonna sew a straight line. All right, that's how that look. Straight line, straight across. All right, now that we got that, sewing machine out the way. For my inner lining, I usually use felt. So I try not to get it too thick because you don't want the tie feeling like really like too thick. So I try to get a good quality, but not too thick, so it doesn't make the tie like real thick and bulky. And again, just tracing out inner lining of a tie that I don't use anymore. Just took that out and I'm gonna be tracing that. All we're doing is tracing, just outlining, that's it. And same with the skinny piece. Got that. Okay. I'm gonna grab our sewn tie. Grab that. Make sure you got your iron handy. What you're trying to do is make sure the tie is ironed out. Any extra wrinkles, just get those out of there. These pieces here, these pieces, you want to make sure they're ironed down flat on both ends. All right. So we're gonna take that outline piece of felt that we got, stick it at the bottom half. Take this outline here, Stick it right up here. Make sure it's going straight down the middle. Just like that. Then here you want to fold over at least about 1 inch over. So you're folding over. Just folding that over and you're ironing it down. Iron that down. All the way from the bottom of the tie to the top. Like I said, just make sure the felt is going straight up the middle. If you had it ironed down, you want to fold this side over. Just fold that side over and iron that side down. Just go all the way up from the bottom to the top of the tie. Doing here is just folding that piece over. All right. So all you're doing is folding that piece over and ironing it, of course. From the top to the bottom. You can always play with this part too, like if it looks crooked or something like that, like you can always adjust the inner lining, the felt, just to make it over, just to make it look even on both sides. Thing you're doing is just ironing all the way up from the bottom to the top. Basically doing the same thing with the skinny part at the end here. You just folding that over just like you did on the bottom part, folding that over. All right, so this part I use cotton material, so I use seam tape. Like, you don't have to use seam tape, but for me, I feel like seam tape helps with the cotton. Like, it bonds it a little bit better, and then like you don't have to worry about if you're sewing the tie all the way up from the bottom to the top, it coming loose or anything like that. Like, I've done it like that before. I just prefer to use seam tape. You don't have to use seam tape. You can always sew it in and out, up from the bottom to the top of the tie. That's an option too, but like for my sake, I use seam tape. So let me grab the seam tape. All right. So I just roll out enough here. Start from the back of the tie. Just go about halfway. And just hit it with the heat. And sometimes you got to go over it a couple times too, just to make sure it's bonded together. Because you don't want, you know, your tie, once you're tying it, you don't want it to come loose. So you definitely want to make sure that it's bonded together real good. And then before I put the rest of the seam tape down, I gotta put the tie keeper on. So I'm gonna sew that on. I got my needle and thread right here. And then I usually, like I'll measure it for the video's sake, but I usually go from the bottom of the tie. So I say about 9 inches up. And I'll show you guys too, so. If you can see that. About 9 inches. All right. So gonna fold that like that. Make sure it looks like that. Stick that there. And sometimes you do have to trim it so it's not, once you fold it on each side, it's not going over the necktie. So, all right, so let's get my needle and thread. And all I do is go in one time, then take it out. So it looks like that. Just went in and out one time. Cut that extra off. Make sure you tie a knot because you don't want this part coming loose. All right. And from here, I'll just grab some more seam tape. From the spot that I stopped at, I'll just go ahead and start from there and kind of work my way down. Not all the way to the tip of the tie, but about halfway to that bottom part here. So I usually stop about right there because I'm gonna sew this part up. All right. That down. Again, like I said, sometimes you got to put a little pressure to it just to make sure that that seam tape is bonded with the fabric. And then what I like to do is I like to sew this part right here, so I know this part is bonded down. I don't want this part coming apart, so I usually sew this twice. I usually go in here. Then I take it back through again. So it looks like that. Then I go in one more time. Of course, cut the needle off. tie you a couple knots so that won't come loose. All right, so it looks like that. So I need more string. All right. Tie a knot at the end, of course. I always clip that extra off. Then I'm gonna do the same thing here on this end. Just go in twice. All right, got that sewn in. Now we gotta sew both sides of the tie keeper here. So not. I'm gonna lay that down just like that, going straight across. And I'm gonna go inside. Going in, making sure it's going into this piece, the tie keeper part, and inside the necktie. So I'm going in, and then I'm gonna go out and then go back in and come out and then make me a knot. Okay, got that side sewn, and then do the same for the other side. And again, make sure you tie a knot because you don't want this part coming loose. Again, just go over the necktie a couple times just to make sure that it is bonded down good. There's the tie keeper there. That's how that looks. Stick the tie down in there, and there you have it. Slim fit necktie. All right. So definitely, guys, let me know if this was helpful. Leave comments. like and subscribe to the channel. Again, I'll be doing more tutorials like this. If I need to, you know, have better lighting or a better situation, like, you know, let me know, leave comments. If there's any kind of fabric that I should try out that you guys think that might be good, definitely let me know. And I definitely think out the box. I'm always looking to do different things. So like I said, again, like this video, comment, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.